For more than 60 years, he's been crashing his way through Tokyo, fighting monsters and saving the Earth. He's appeared in more than 40 films, including 2 American remakes. Godzilla, King of the Monsters, is one of cinema's most enduring characters. But where does the inspiration for Godzilla come from? Most people would be pretty quick to make the connection between Godzilla, an atomic monster who was awoken from the death by nuclear bomb testing and breathes nuclear fire, with the 2 American bombs that were dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And while this certainly was an influence, Ishiro Honda, who wrote and directed Godzilla, travelled to Hiroshima as a child to witness the devastation firsthand. The true event that inspired Godzilla was known as the Lucky Dragon 5 incident. On January 22, 1954, a fishing vessel left a port in the Shizuoka prefecture. After a few weeks out to sea with very little luck, the crew had a difficult decision to make. Either return home with the meagre catch of big-eye tuna they already had, or head out southeast to the Marshall Islands in hopes of finding a richer fishing ground. Unbeknownst to the crew, 5 months earlier the American military had posted notification that it would be testing out a new kind of nuclear weapon at Bikini Atoll. And although the crew of the Lucky Dragon 5 were sailing outside the exclusion zone set by the US military, there was still a problem. The American military were experimenting with a new kind of dry fuel hydrogen bomb called the Castle Bravo. It was expected to produce a blast the equivalent of 6 megatons of TNT, which would have created an affected area about this big. But, due to a miscalculation, it produced the equivalent of 15 megatons of TNT, which created an affected area about this big. On March 1st, 1954, the US detonated the largest bomb in their history, in what would become known as the day the sun rose in the west. The crew of the Lucky Dragon 5 survived the explosion, but as ash from the bomb settled in the atmosphere, it began to rain down on the vessel, bringing with it dangerous radiation. Makatashi Oishi, who was 20 years old at the time, wrote, "The tops of the clouds spread over us. 2 hours passed. White particles were falling on us, just like sleet. White particles penetrated mercilessly. Eyes, nose, ears, mouth. We had no sense that it was dangerous." The crew didn't know what they had just seen, and they were unaware of the terrible effects it was about to take. Later in the day, when they began to feel nauseous, they decided to make their way home. Slowly, the crew began to develop radiation burns around their body. Their gums began to bleed, and their eyes began to swell. When they arrived to port, a Geiger counter could detect radiation from 30 meters away. The crew were put into quarantine, and all but one survived the event. The ship's radio operator, Akatashi Kuboyama, who slipped into a coma and passed away when he reached the mainland. When you watch the opening scenes of Godzilla, it's pretty clear that Ishiro Honda is drawing parallels to this event. The film opens with a fishing vessel with the number 5 painted on it. Strange lights are seen below the ocean before a huge explosion showers the crew in blinding light. Honda is careful to show the death of the boat's radio engineer. Godzilla isn't just a symbol of the dangers of nuclear war, he's also a symbol of the dangers of messing with atomic energy during peacetime, a danger that Japan knows all too well. For more on this topic, I've included links to all my sources in the information box below, and feel free to click the subscribe button for more on Japanese culture, politics and news.